So here on the left we have the task given to us, and as we can see it is a variant of an exercise given in the course literature. So what you can do is you can go there and read it and potentially solve that one first, but you can also solve it after you have solved this one. But what does the task tell us to do? So I have read it and I will pick out a few things here. It shall have a function that takes a sentence as a parameter. That is one thing that we clearly can see that we need to do. And it says here that it should return a copy of the sentence with a capital first letter and a period at the end. And then we are given a few examples here. So if we send in hello, there is a capital letter to begin with, but there is no period at the end. So it will be converted to what we have here on the right hand side. If we take a look at the second example, we see that, all right, this needs to be a capital H and there should be a period at the end. All right, that is what we got. And the last one is, it will not change anything because we have the period and we have a capital N. So it shall look the same on both sides. So this is what we are sending in and this is what is returned from the function. And to continue here now, because now I think we do understand the problem, what we need to do. What we need to do now is to devise a plan. And I will start by drawing my flowchart here. And I have this idea because we have 3 examples here. So I had the idea that I will create a list where I store all 3 strings that we can see on the left hand side here. And then I will use them in a loop to call this function that we should create so that we can try all of them automatically. So that is why I say that the first thing I'm going to do in my main function is to create a list of test data, and this test data is these 3 sentences or words we have here on the left hand side. But after that, all right, then I have to create my loop. Okay, let us take a look here. So we start in main. What we do is that we create a list containing the test data, what we had here on the left hand side. And then as long as there is more data in the list, so I will test one by one. And what I will do in a loop here is to call this function capitalize, and I will display whatever is returned from that function. So we keep going in this loop until we have tried all the elements in the list, and after that we are done. I'll just clean it up a little bit. So if we take a look at it now, that it is a little bit nicer maybe. So when we call our main function, we will create a list of the test data, these 3 things on the left hand side here. After that, we will create a loop that looks at the element in the list one by one. And what do? We call this function that we will be creating in a second, that capitalize the input to the function according to the instructions here, that the first letter should be a capital letter, and we shall have the rest of the sentence lowercase, and at the end there should be a period. The result is then displayed, and then we keep going here for all elements. When all elements are handled, what we do is that we just end the script. But there is one more thing, and that is to add this function. And you can see here, when I started to add this function, I already added two things here. So when we call the function, the first thing I imagine that would happen in this function is that we figure out what is the first letter and what is the rest of the sentence that we send as a parameter. What we do is that when we have managed to find the first letter, we make it uppercase. And the rest that we find, all the other letters, we also make them lowercase. So in my head, this is two variables holding the first letter uppercase and another variable holding the rest of the sentence in lowercase. So that is the first thing we do here. And the next thing to do is to combine them. So we picked out the first letter, made it uppercase, we had the rest of the sentence, made it lowercase. Now we just combine them so we have one sentence again. There is one thing left to do, and that is to make sure that this sentence ends with a period. And I will add that here. So if we take a look at what we have here, we can now see that, all right, if we start in main, what we do then is to create a list of test data, and for all the elements we call this other function here and capitalize it and display the result. But what do we do in this function then? Well, we pick out the first letter and make it upper, and the rest of the sentence we make lower, and then we combine the two parts and we check if we have a period at the end of the sentence. If not, we add one and then we return the result. The implementation for this we will see in the implementation video.